What is up, guys? I am that boarding school dude. Welcome to another episode. I don't even know where to begin. This day had to come. There was really no avoiding it. You know, I said in my last episode that I might have to follow it up with the boarding school that I graduated from. Today's the day. Westtown School, located in Westtown, Pennsylvania. Let's go. So guys, what can I say to start out? Westtown School in Westtown, Pennsylvania. I spent my 10th, 11th, and 12th grade years at the Westtown School. And, you know, let me just come right out and say that when I was in 9th grade at another boarding school, and I knew that I was going to transfer, we looked at a couple schools, and when my father took me to go see Westtown, I was totally blown away. I really was. I just thought to myself, this is like the nicest place I've ever been to. I mean, this school. I mean, the campus, the school, the buildings. I mean, everything was just so. I just thought it was so amazing. I remember when I was on a soccer team in 9th grade at my previous boarding school, we went to Westtown to play their athletic teams. And every time I went there, I was like, just, wow. I mean, this place is just so nice. The image I had in my head of what a real top-notch boarding school should look like and feel like. And let me tell you, for all intents and purposes, that's kind of what it was. I mean, that was my experience. I applied, I got accepted, and I started there in my 10th grade year. And it was such a complete departure from the boarding school that I was previously at, where we had collared shirts and ties and sport jackets and dress shoes. And I mean, there was no dress code at Westtown. I mean, I remember sitting in the center part of the main building waiting to get a tour of the place, and I remember seeing the kids go up and down the hall, and some of them were wearing pajamas in school. It was really, really lax. I was like, wow, this is kind of like public school, but it's not public school. I mean, it was such a weird feeling, but I just knew that there was something special about this place. When I went, I got to tell you, I was received with open arms. I really felt like instantaneously like I belonged there. I felt that everybody was extremely friendly, just very welcoming. It was a very welcoming environment. It's like the complete opposite end of the spectrum from the school that I just came from. The Westtown School it's a Quaker boarding school. It is a Quaker affiliated school. What does that mean? Well, it means that when you go to religious service, you are going to what is known as a meeting house. And that's what Quakers, or the Religious Society of Friends, that's how they worship. They worship in a meeting house. And what was really odd to me at first, they generally worship in silence. And this was such a weird experience for me right out of the gate. I remember like the first night that I was at Westtown, like I moved all my stuff in, and that evening, the night that all the students came back, we had a meeting for worship. It was an hour-long religious service, and it was the first time I ever experienced it, and everybody just sat around in silence. I thought it was the most bizarre Puritan kind of thing. I mean, I felt like I was back in like Salem, Massachusetts. I thought they were going to like burn witches after that. I mean, it was so bizarre.
Outside the church, there can be no mercy or salvation, only punishment.
Long story short, I ended up kind of really, at times, enjoying meeting for worship during my experience of the 3 years that I was there. Anyway, so let's switch gears and talk a little bit about the school. A pre-K through 12th grade school. It used to be you had to board there your 11th and 12th grade year. Your 9th and 10th were optional. Just like so many other boarding schools, I mean, literally all of them, they have now given 11th and 12th graders the option to be day students as well. I boarded as soon as I went. In 10th grade, I started boarding in the main building. 10th and 11th graders, they're on the third floor of the building. One end is girls and one end is guys. When I was there, it was called guys third and girls third. Juniors and seniors live on the second floor of the main building, guys second or girls second. Freshman boys lived in a big stone house off of the main building. It was called Stone House. Girls, just recently, I want to say maybe in the past 10 years or so, for freshman girls, they have their own dormitory, very similar to what used to be called Stone House. It's not called that anymore. I really don't even know what it's called. Somebody probably donated a lot of money and got their name on it. I mean, that's really how it kind of works. So let's talk about the academics at Westtown. I mean, wow. I got to be honest with you. I felt it was like pretty damn good. I mean, I really did. I mean, I'd experienced public school. I'd experienced an all boys boarding school, private school. But this place I just felt was like kind of on a different level. If you wanted to be challenged academically here, you could find that. I mean, 100%. I mean, they had classes available there, advanced placement classes that, personally, I couldn't even dream of getting in. I mean, just being honest. They generally tend to go to some pretty good schools. I mean, they had some really, really smart and talented student body there. And not only the student body, but the faculty. I mean, I was very impressed. I mean, I really was. I can't knock it. I mean, I felt that my teachers there were not only very knowledgeable, supportive, and available, and whatever you needed. If you needed some extra help, they were there for you. During this review, I'm gonna do my best to give it a fair shake and try not to be biased here. We'll look at a couple videos. I'm going to give you my reaction, and I'm going to give you the good and the bad. I'm not going to pull any punches. I'm just going to kind of tell it how it is. Let's get into a couple videos, and then I'll kind of comment as we go. And look, full disclosure, some of my best friends are from Westtown. I mean, I still talk to these guys every day of my life. I mean, we're talking almost 20, 25 years later. It's just a nice place. It really is. It's a nice place to grow up. There's some things that I necessarily don't really like about it. I think that when you are a graduate of a school, you hate to see things change, but ultimately you realize that, change is necessary. Maybe 10, 15 years ago, they changed the school colors. For 200 years, the school colors were brown and white, and they're not brown and white anymore. There's definitely a extreme left slant there. It is a very politically correct place. When I was there, and for probably 100 years, in the morning, we would have a sort of a homeroom kind of thing. We would call it collection, and all the boys in the school went to one end of the school, and all the girls went to the other end of the school, and it was known as boys collection and girls collection. And kind of recently, it got changed. It's no longer referred to as boys end and girls end. It's now referred to as the West End and the East End. I think that they don't want the students to have to be defined by their gender. I don't know. I'm not there anymore. This is just kind of what has been passed along to me. I find it a little weird, but would I love to say that, the Westtown School is a pioneer of this thinking? Unfortunately not. I think a lot of the universities and secondary schools these days, whether they like it or not, they're kind of being forced into it. When I went to school there, we never had a dean of diversity and inclusion. We never had a dean of access and equity. They both sound good. I'm not exactly sure what someone in that position does for 40 hours a week. It kind of sounds to me like they're just kind of creating a position like that just to create a position, to say that we have one. It's probably going to be a little difficult for me to stay neutral here. But I'm going to do my best. So anyway, let's get to it. They have a fairly large endowment. I think it's around 100 million. I know that the tuition is, right around $63,000 a year. I think that the average financial aid package is probably somewhere around 45,000. So you're probably still going to be on the hook for around maybe 17 or 18,000, something like that. I think that if you send your child to Westtown, you can pretty much be guaranteed that they're going to exit there being able to think fairly critically. When I was there, they were always pumping out students who could write very well, and I mean really well. The sports there I thought were great. All their facilities, their different soccer fields and baseball fields and field hockey fields and blah, 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 blah. I mean, they have it all. And the dorm life was really fun. I mean, it was like basically living with 100 of your best friends every night. I mean, it was a really cool experience. Again, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. I mean, not everything was perfect, but nothing really ever is. Just about everybody I know went on to really do something magnificent. I mean, I really don't know anybody who graduated from there who now works in a bowling alley. Not that there's anything wrong with working in a bowling alley, but most of the people that I know that went there, I mean, they really went kind of far. So well done. I don't know how that translates into college prep, but I think that they all generally kind of graduate people with a purpose. Some of the purposes that I see, I'm not very fond of. I mean, if I'm spending $65,000 a year to send my kid to a private boarding school, I don't really want them to graduate being a professional protester. And there's definitely some of them there.
The cliques and the social stereotyping and all the different sort of things that divide kids in high school just doesn't exist. There's really...
Wait. Did he just say that the cliques don't exist? And the cliques don't exist there? You're still talking about high school kids. Like, I don't know about that.
So little of the standard high school nonsense. It's like you're accepted.
Well, I think the sense of community here is extremely strong, and it really extends outside of the classroom.
We're a cohesive unit, and I love that about Westtown. I made tighter bonds here than I've ever had in my previous schools.
I did too.
I think that
generally,
when you board, you have a very close connection with the people that you're living with. Not only do you see them during classes and in sports, but you're also with them at dinner, breakfast, and by doing that, you get to know them better, and you get to know things about them that you wouldn't know otherwise. I think in that sense, you become more close to that person, and the friendships that you build in a boarding school, I think, are just stronger because you've been living with them for 2, 3, sometimes even 4 years.
And then moving on.
Wow. That room looks really big. I don't remember the rooms being that wide. Guys, any of you guys who also went to Westtown, comment down below. I mean, am I seeing this? This doesn't seem real. There's 2 windows there, and I remember there only being 1 window. Guys, comment down below. This looks out of place.
Everybody in your grade is here all the time, 24/7, and it's fun. I mean,
That
honestly, it's kind of, at least for the first couple of weeks of junior year, it's kind of like sleepaway camp. It's a slumber party with all your friends.
It is.
I mean, who wouldn't want that if then there's homework? And all my friends, like, we get surprised because we only have known each other for less than 3 years, and we feel like we're all already family.
As a principal, I want a diverse community. I find it intellectually stagnating to have a group that dominates.
I know that voice.
Variety and breadth, and I really believe that that's again going to prepare our young people for the world they will inhabit.
We have so many.
Shout out Eric Mayer. I went to Westtown. He was my advisor. Great guy.
Different perspectives here. In addition to the ethnic diversity and socioeconomic diversity, we just have a diversity of students in terms of their talents and their interests.
And that's what makes our classroom so dynamic. It adds such great depth when you start bringing in personal experiences from multiple countries and multiple cultural backgrounds.
I had a lot of friends at Westtown that were international students. A lot of people from Korea when I went there. Great guys.
Our students gain a tremendous amount of wisdom from their peers. It makes for better learning for everyone, including myself.
So I don't know how old this video is, but there's all guys in this. That is one of the end. That's one of the home rooms, the collection rooms. And man, I remember in the morning, some of those collection rooms would get really rowdy. I mean, well, not rooms, but our boys' collection would get rowdy. I personally remember crowd surfing during collection one morning. I mean, it was pretty fun. It's a shame it's gone. Okay, so here's a different video called "Why Westtown School." Let's see.
Sometimes I'll just sum it up and say Westtown grows great humans. I feel like I'm releasing an adult into college and not a teenager.
And when you say,
that is an interesting statement. I feel like I'm releasing an adult into college and not a teenager. I think that parents hope that, but you know, when I was 18, I felt that, you know, man, I'm an adult and I'm ready for. I mean, let's be honest. When you're 18, you don't know shit.
It's just everyone's so welcoming. Everyone's mind is open. All the teachers, they're like okay with personalizing things. They get that if you were having trouble, they might need to do it a different way to really help your mind.
Yeah, I love that it's a diverse community, and here everyone's just so nice and like kind, and like we value each other's like opinions, which is
so the Quaker belief that there's that of God in everyone allows boundaries to be surpassed, in which in itself creates deeper relationships with people, and when you create those deeper relationships, the community in itself just comes together.
Well, I can also tell you that Quakers believe in nonviolence. If you get caught fighting at the school, I believe it's an immediate expulsion. I believe that, well, when I went there, there was 2 ways of getting kicked out. If you had an open flame in the building, and if you got caught fighting. Either two, whether you were smoking a cigarette or had a match lit or any fire in the building, you were immediately expelled. And if you got caught fighting. So.
And encourages everyone else to share those values, and not only to use them here at school, but also to take them out into the world with them.
So it's very, very exponential.
Oh, I agree with that. I absolutely agree with that. I believe that they graduate very vocal students. Yeah.
Because everyone here is so nice, and one of the Quaker spirits is to honor the light in people. So everybody here is really nice.
Very friendly place.
While you're here in Westtown. Really like meeting for worship because it's my best time to relax and then like be in the moment. Each month when we write.
I thought meeting for worship was so weird when I first had to do it. I just remember looking around and like everyone sitting in silence. I couldn't stop laughing. I thought it was hysterical. Probably took me about a month to kind of like get into it. For anybody who kind of doesn't know what it's like, it's kind of like meditating for an hour.
I think we always like to cover 3 aspects. One about our school life, one about the community around us, and one typically about home. And I think
I remember one time in meeting for worship, like they were chopping down a tree on campus, and I think the tree was dead. but they were ultimately going to chop the tree down. And like people in meeting for worship were like going wild. Like, they were going bananas that like a tree had to get chopped down. Like I don't even know the word I want to say. Not like hippie-ish or like super green. But that's kind of what you're getting there a little bit. I mean, a lot of Birkenstocks and Volvos, if you know what I mean.
Nice to have some time to reflect, maybe on what's happened in your life or what's going on in the news.
Everybody 100.
I don't know. I mean, maybe I did a little bit of reflection as like a 16, 17, 18-year-old in meeting for worship, but I don't know. I think I just thought about girls the whole time.
Qualities of Quakerism that I've learned at Westtown are definitely going to impact my years in college and my years after that.
Not for anything, but I was just thinking about this that I would kind of agree with that like Quakerism as a whole and going to a Quaker school will definitely impact you for years to come. And I'm not really trying to get like too critical of any religion here, but the one thing about Quakers is that obviously they believe just about anything can be accomplished through nonviolence. I think on paper that sounds really great. I mean, I really do. When you look back throughout history, I don't know, dare I say that just about everything has kind of been solved through violence. Sorry. I really don't think like a bus full of Quakers driving up to the Eagle's Den, Hitler's lair, would have kind of changed his mind from taking over the whole world. Unfortunately, a bunch of brave young men had to go and do it with rifles. A lot of Quakers get to practice Quakerism in places where there's police departments and armies and laws. I don't know if you could really practice Quakerism in North Korea. Comment down below if you could, but I don't really think that that's an option.
Do you know what you stand for? Do you know what really matters to you? Are you ready to discover the potential inside? It's there for you to find. You can be seen. You can be heard. You can find your purpose. And you will shine.
My purpose is to heal.
My purpose is to grow. My purpose is to reveal.
Reveal what?
Purpose is to lead.
My purpose is to perfect. To create.
To defy.
To rethink.
Did you guys see that? Did you guys see that? I'm going to have to rewind. They said, my purpose is to defy. And I saw a lot of like elementary school kids, like, almost looked like they were like on like a protest march or something. Remember what I told you about that? Let's rewind, check that out.
To defy.
Yeah, I'm seeing like, not for anything, but okay, maybe this was like some sort of like, special day or something, like, I don't know, Martin Luther King Day or something like that, but I don't know. Like, if I'm spending that type of money to send my child to school, like, I don't want him out, like, learning how to protest. Like, I want him to learn calculus.
To rethink. To discover.
To inspire.
To imagine.
To serve. To question.
To reflect.
And breathe.
Nice campus.
My purpose is to shine. At Westtown School, my purpose is illuminated.
Okay. Quickly talk about the athletics at Westtown. When I was at Westtown, you I believe that you had to do a minimum of 2 sports a year. I think that's what it was. And for those who were not too into sports, if you want to say that, you could do the play, or you could do this or that, or they had other options. Sports was always a really big thing at Westtown. I felt like everybody I hung out with, played sports, and in the fall there was like soccer and cross country, and in the spring there was like baseball, tennis, lacrosse. In the winter there was basketball and wrestling and strength and conditioning and swimming, and they had a pretty wide range of stuff to choose from. And for the girls, they had volleyball and field hockey, lacrosse, and now I want to say, like, as of maybe like 10 years ago, somewhere around there, the basketball team got really good. They brought in a coach, Seth Berger. Seth Berger was the former CEO of the company And One, and I'm just going to deduce that through all of his connections and financial freedom, he really turned our basketball program around, where he was bringing in some like guys from all over the world. I mean, from different countries, and I mean, it's been like phenomenal, really. I mean, like back to back like state champs, and the whole 9 yards. I think there's, in the past 10 years, there's been like 4 people from Westtown who've gone on to the NBA. I mean, it's pretty legit these days. I mean, to even try and summarize 3 of the most formative years of my life into a 20 or 30 minute video is completely impossible. I had a great experience. I made a lot of friends. I felt like I learned a lot when I was there, and not just necessarily in the classroom. It was a great experience, and I wish that everyone could experience such a wonderful place. I'm not really too big of a fan of some of the changes that have happened. I feel like Westtown now in 2020 tries too hard to be morally superior than all of their competition. From the emails I receive, to the letters I get in the mail, to the social media posts that they put out, and this is just my personal opinion, but I feel like they virtue signal a little bit too much. Like they need to publicize how they are always going to be on the right side of history. Some of the times I think they are, and some of the times I think they're not, and it kind of irritates me when they ask for money for the annual giving every year. I mean, I have no problem giving money, and believe me, over the years I gave substantially more than the average person. Let me tell you, I don't think that's a bad thing. I think it's a good thing that if you have the means, that you should give back. But I think that the money should be spent responsibly, and I think that the money should be spent on educating students in the classroom. I'd love to see an American flag get put up at Westtown. I can guarantee you that will probably never happen, and that's a shame. Anyway, guys, man, tell you what, I know this is just like a really concise review and reaction, but I mean, I might have to come back to this. Because I just feel like I need to dive deeper in. I don't know if I'm ready to give it a score right now, so let me think about this. I don't need any more time. That boarding school dude, the Westtown School, 8.4. 8.4, that's the score that I am giving it. Guys, this was one of the toughest reviews I've had to do. I mean, we're trying to stay neutral. I think I highlighted a lot of the really great things about the school and some of the things that I don't like about the school. Fair and balanced. I mean, that's really what I tried to do here, and I think I did it pretty well. I think we might actually come back at some point to Westtown, maybe do another video, telling some really great stories about the place, more personal experiences rather than reviewing and reacting to some of the marketing videos they put out and that type of stuff. So, guys, thank you so much. I'm sure I'm probably going to get some slack, some people I know, but that's okay. That's okay. I am that boarding school dude. You are not. I am. Okay, so I can say what I want. But listen, guys, I really appreciate you watching the video and all the other videos. If you haven't already done so, please like the video, comment down below, subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so yet. I really appreciate it. And listen, I hope that you enjoy what I do, because I kind of enjoy what I'm doing here. It's kind of fun. I don't know what's coming up next. Thinking we might have to matriculate back up to New England. That's kind of my thought process here. But in any event, stay tuned. Thanks so much, and I'll see you soon.